It's UFC 326 this weekend, and I think I have found the kind of bet that's going to make our weekend. I'm swinging the hammer hard on this one. The stats all line up, and I can't wait to tell you it. Welcome to Lucrative Hammer of the Week. Welcome back, lads, to Hammer of the Week, where I give you the best betting spot on the entire fight card. And this week, we have UFC 326, another Paramount Plus pay-per-view where we have Max Holloway taking on Charles Oliveira for the BMF title. Max Holloway looking to defend his BMF title against an uncrowned BMF in Charles "Do Bronx" Oliveira. I've scoured the card looking for fantastic bets to place for my VIP, but also to give you guys. And I know a lot of you guys are already in my VIP, and I think I found a pretty good bet. In the co-main event, we have Kai Bahayo taking on Reina the Ritter, two guys still gunning for that middleweight title. We also have Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. I like both of these guys because I've cashed against them a couple of times now. I was on Christian Rodriguez against Raul Rosas as a big underdog, and I was on David Martinez as an underdog against Rob Font in his last fight. So I'm excited for that one from a betting perspective, and there's some entertaining fights on this card as well. I mean, Michael Johnson taking on Drew Dober. I'd be surprised if someone does not go to sleep in that one. We have Gregory Rodriguez taking on Bruno Ferreira. I'd be surprised if someone doesn't go to sleep in that one. So very excited for this Paramount Plus pay-per-view card, UFC 326, but a lot more excited to come here in front of you and give you one of my favorite bets for the card. So if you don't know what Hammer of the Week is, you need to get to know. But if you don't know, it's a video I put out every single week on this very YouTube channel. So go and subscribe if you want to see next week's Hammer, where I basically give you the best betting spot on the entire fight card, or a bet that I want to give out, or the bet that I believe has the most value, or something like that. You know, just a bet that I want to give out to the people for free. I will say as a disclaimer, a lot of people completely ignore the disclaimers that I put out throughout my videos every single week for years, but I'm still going to say it anyway. You know, morally, I have to put disclaimers out there. One of the disclaimers is that I make 15 plus bets a week. You know, not every week, but some weeks I make 10 bets, 15 bets, 8 bets, whatever it is. So I wouldn't rely on the Hammer of the Week. I have seen comments of some people telling me they put their whole bankroll on one bet, the Hammer of the Week, which is retarded. So although this is a bet that I do like, don't put your whole bankroll on it. Don't rely on it to fund your weekend. The way you make money in MMA is by spreading your stake across multiple bets, because that's going to reduce variance and increase and exploit your edge over the long term. But that's just professional gambler talk. Forget about all that, boys. We're going to get into the Hammer of the Week right now. So we're making the short-ish trip across the border from Mexico, where the UFC was in last week, to good old Las Vegas, Nevada, to show you my Hammer of the Week. So let's have a look right now. Here we are, back in my favorite place in the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Time for another Hammer hot streak. All right, here we go. Come on, come on, come on. Yes, let's go.
Hey, you're Lucrative James, right? Love those hammer bets. Great stuff. Let's go smash these casinos. First at the blackjack tables, then we'll hit them with that lucrative hammer.
All right, hit me, hit me. Let's go.
And that makes 21. Unfortunately, that will be all for this evening. Sorry, gentlemen. The casino is all out of money.
So there we are, lads. The Hammer of the Week this week is Max Blessed Holloway at odds of minus 220. I know a few people are going to be upset at me for this one because Charles "Do Bronx" is maybe the most loved fighter in the game, but so is Max Holloway, so maybe you won't be too mad at me. Boys, I just feel like the fight is going to end the same way as their first fight did. Yes, a lot of people won't know this, but this is a rematch. Max Holloway won the fight in the first round in the first fight, but I'm going to add a massive caveat to that. It was an injury. It was a shoulder injury stoppage. But I still believe that Max Holloway will win via TKO in this one, just as he officially did in the last one. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, boys. So the way I analyze this fight is that Charles Oliveira needs to win via submission to win the fight. I truly believe that. Whereas I think Max can win a decision. I think Max can win via knockout. And I also think Max can win via submission. Am I predicting a submission? No. But do I think that if Charles Oliveira is in round 3 and round 4 and he's been beat up bad to the body, to the head, and he's bleeding, cut open, Max couldn't cinch up a rear naked choke? I truly believe he can do that. Do I think he can out-grapple Charles? No way. But do I think he can cinch up a choke when Charles is damn near ready to quit from being beat up? Yes, I do think that's possible. So I just feel like Max can win this fight a multitude of ways, and I'm going to tell you exactly why, boys. One thing I want to bring to your attention is that Max Holloway is a different fighter from what you had seen 3 to 4 years ago. He has changed his style almost completely. Now, the stylistic change wasn't drastic to where a lot of fighters or a lot of MMA fans noticed it, but I noticed it. You know, I analyze these fights for a living, and so I see subtle changes. And what I've seen since Max Holloway's move up to 155, but even slightly before that, is a difference in his demeanor, a difference in his fight style, distance control, kicking arsenal, and range management. Max Holloway is not the brawler, the pressure fighter as he once was. He's a lot more methodical now. I see Max Holloway throwing his jab out to measure range like I have never seen before. I see Max Holloway fight on the end of a jab with big teeps up the middle, big body kicks, a lot more spinning attacks in his arsenal than he ever had. Now, he was always able to go to the spinning attacks. I recall a fight back, way back in the day against Will Chope, where he was able to finish him starting off with a spinning back kick to the body. But now he is just a lot more brutal with them, and he is a lot more calculated with them. The way he is able to sometimes avoid the firefights and the brawls that he would once get into and evade that, stay on the outside and pick his opponents apart from range is something that he has only recently in the last few years really put into his toolbox. And I do believe because he's getting older, he doesn't want to take as much damage as he maybe once was willing to take back in the day. And he also understands that chins don't last forever. Chins do start to go. We have seen him officially knocked out now for the first time, which was against Ilia Topuria. And by the way, in that fight specifically, you see Max's ability to roll with shots and stay on the outside. It just happened that he fought one of the greatest fighters that has ever lived in a weight class that he probably didn't belong at anymore at that point, even though he had wins in that weight class not too long before that. And I like the calmness, the patience, and the veteran savvy that I see in Max Holloway's game now. He can still swing. He can still brawl, and he does it every single fight in the last 10 seconds of the fight. But he's a lot more methodical with it now. And I think that is going to be a great tool for him moving forward because he's not going to get into these brawls that can hurt him. I mean, if you're fighting Dustin Poirier, you can get hurt in that fight. He did get hurt in that fight. Go back and watch round 2. Dustin Poirier rocked him, basically dropped him. I don't know if it officially counted as a knockdown. I have not checked UFC stats, but in my eyes, it was a knockdown. He was able to bounce back up to his feet very quickly. That was after hurting Dustin Poirier and almost finishing him in that round. One of the greatest round 2s you will ever see last year was Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier. I encourage everybody to go back and watch that there, but he can be hurt. You know, we saw in Ilia Topuria fight, he was knocked out there, you know, so he's been hurt by Dustin Poirier. He was hurt by Ilia Topuria. We see that his durability not is fading, but it's not what it once was. I'm very confident in saying that. He's been in a lot of wars, guys. You know, he's an older fighter now. He's 34 years old, and I truly believe that his style is based around him understanding that he's aging, him understanding that he doesn't want to get into as many wars now because he wants to keep his faculties for his future life, and him also understanding that his durability is potentially fading. I think the Max Holloway that we see today is better equipped to beat Charles Oliveira than he was 5 years ago. I truly believe that, at least where they are at this time. I'm not saying that Max wasn't more in his prime then. I mean, that's another video for another day. What I'm saying now is if you fight Charles Oliveira, you don't really want to be suckered into a brawl. You don't want to bite down on your mouth shield and, you know, just throw heavy leather. You don't want to point down to the ground because you're going to give him all the chances that he needs to. Now, if the fight gets to the last 10 seconds, I'm sure he will point down to the ground. But I really like the ability I've seen from Max Holloway in the last 3 to 4 years to adapt his game. And honestly, mainly the last 2 or 3 years, stay on the outside and slowly break down his opponent. I think that's what you need to do against Charles Oliveira. As I said at the start of the breakdown, for Charles to win this fight, I think he needs to go full throttle, land something big on Max, jump on the guillotine or take his back. He can do that, but I think more likely is that Max Holloway actually hurts him. Something else I want to mention about Max Holloway in this fight is that at 155, boys, he is jacked. He is a big boy at 155. He is no longer the small, skinny, lanky range striker that we knew at 145 pounds. He is a big lad at this weight class, and he has a lot more power than he ever did. Go and watch his 155-pound fights, boys. This guy has heavy power now. We saw it on display in the Justin Gaethje fight, not only in the last 10 seconds of the fight, but also with a spinning back kick in the early rounds. He hurt him badly in that fight. There was also multiple rounds, I think round 4 off the top of my head, where he hurts Justin with punches badly. I mean, Max Holloway in that Justin Gaethje fight looked like a power puncher. You move on and look at his only other lightweight bout in the last 5 years, and it is his last fight against Dustin Poirier. A rematch, mind you, of a 155-pound bout. It was a trilogy, actually. But, you know, it was a trilogy of a 155-pound bout the last time they fought, I think in 2019. So you're talking 7 years ago. And he hurts Dustin Poirier multiple times in that fight. Multiple times, almost finishes him. When they fought for the second time, the last time before the last time they fought. He couldn't hurt Dustin in that fight. The entire fight was predicated on him being hurt by the bigger man. He had a lot of volume, and by the way, he did actually hurt him in round 1. I should say that. But he had nowhere near the punch power that we saw in that trilogy. And now you could say, James, to play devil's advocate, Dustin's durability probably isn't the same now. Yes, okay, I agree. But I think we can clearly see that Max Holloway has more power at 155. I really think, it's in his body. He's jacked. He hits how he's sitting down and his punches more. He's hurting people all the time. It's like, this guy's got more power at 155. And Charles Oliveira is gonna feel that this weekend. Look, Charles is one of the best fighters that has ever lived, honestly. I mean, the run that he has gone on after his losses against Max Holloway, Paul Felder back in the day was one of the best runs we've ever seen in the lightweight division and in any division, because he just finished everyone. But honestly, I think in this fight, if he doesn't get a submission, which will probably not even be able to come from the wrestling or grappling, because I don't think his wrestling or grappling is good enough to take Max down unless he jumps on the back or something like that. I think he needs to hurt Max to grapple him. I mean, outside of that, I don't see many chances of him winning. So the way I see this fight playing out is Max Holloway is breaking him down, landing shots to the body. And I do think that he ends up finishing Charles Oliveira here. And boys, I'm not just going to give you that Max Holloway hammer play. If you know Hammer of the Week, we've got a section coming up right now called Ladder the Hammer, where I give you extra prop bets that we can add on to ladder our main money line play on Max Holloway. So we're going to get into that in just a second. But first, I want to know your Hammer of the Week, as I do every week. So comment down below what your Hammer of the Week is this week, as well as your Ladder the Hammer section. And if you have a great Hammer of the Week, I'm going to shout you out on next week's show. So let's take a look at some Hammer of the Week comments that we got last week that completely crushed it. We got Blake Eldstrom saying Imanol Rodriguez inside the distance and via KO. Damn, that was a sweaty ass one. I really thought Borjas was going to knock him out, but you are exactly right. He did show the UFC what he is made of, literally. And he was made of tough stuff. He was able to weather the storm, and he was able to finish him exactly like you said, inside the distance and by KO at -130 and +120. So congratulations for that one. I know you were sweating, but you got it down. We got Jeffrey also on Imanol Rodriguez, but specifically Imanol Rodriguez KO round 2. So well done, brother. That was a great read and a great cash. A lot of people saying you can't give out a -450 because last week we cashed on Santiago Luna at -450 odds. But boys, one thing you have to understand is implied probability in sports betting is all you really need to know to make a profit. Santiago Luna was a -450, but I believed he should be about a -850. That means there is value on Santiago Luna. You can make bets at any odds that you want as long as there's value on them. There was clear value on Santiago Luna at -450. Therefore, I thought it was a good play, and it happened to be a good play. So don't always look for the underdogs, boys. Don't always look for the big odds. Sometimes you do that, depending on the bet. But honestly, it's all about value. Is there value in the line? If there's value, you play it. If there's not, you pass on it. There was value in Santiago Luna. I believe there's value in Max Holloway, and we're going to win hammers back-to-back now. Boys, these are a couple other great bets. Congratulations to all of these guys. So boys, remember to comment down below with your Hammer of the Week. And if you win, I'll shout you out on next week's show. So lads, let's take a look at some props that we can add on in our section, Ladder the Hammer. Now, currently the Hammer of the Week has a record of 11 wins and 4 losses, and we have actually hit 12 separate ladder rungs, some at gigantic odds. We obviously won last week on Santiago Luna. We couldn't get the ladder rungs that week though, so hopefully we can bring it back and win this week. But with all transparency, boys, I did cash my Hammer of the Week last week, but I did not win on my actual bets. Unfortunately, it was a losing week. Now, I had a lot of people messaging saying, wow, you done so well on picks, like you went 11-1 on picks or 10-2 or something like that. But I always say, boys, picks are not bets. This is very important to understand, because if I pick a fighter, it doesn't mean I bet on that fighter. I bet where I believe the value is. Sometimes I bet against the fighter I picked, right? So although I done well on picks last week, I actually lost on my official bets. So I want to put that disclaimer out there, boys. As always, I'm the most transparent in the industry. I always show you wins, show you losses. And I did want to point that out. Yes, I may have done very well on picks last week, but I didn't win my bets. But all that means is we go again this week and we win our bets this week and next week and the week after and the month after and the year after and the year after And that's how you build your bankroll over the time, boys. So let's try and boost the bankroll with our section, Ladder the Hammer. So like I said, boys, I think that Max Holloway is going to end up finding Charles Oliveira's chin or temple or body. Like, I think he's going to drop Charles Oliveira in this fight. I actually think he might drop him a couple of times. I don't know if he's going to put him out completely, but I could most certainly see him getting dropped multiple times. Like Charles does get dropped a lot, even in fights that he wins, like Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. He does get hurt in those fights, Michael Chandler. And I do think that's going to happen here. I think he's going to get hurt, wobbled multiple times. And I think after he drops him a few times, the ref is going to be like, you know what, that's probably enough. And I think that Max is going to finish via TKO. But like I did acknowledge, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if he wrapped up a submission when Charles is basically ready to quit or something like that, although I think it's more likely the TKO. So for the second rung of the ladder, boys, or the first rung of the ladder, after our main Holloway moneyline play, we're going to go Max Holloway to win inside the distance. I don't think he's winning the decision here. I think he's going to cut through Charles Oliveira and finish him. So at plus 115 odds, that's what we will take. I will also mention, boys, you're going to get much better odds than all of these. I'm getting on Bet Online odds, which are notoriously pretty bad, especially for props and stuff like that. But we will go with the plus 115 Max Holloway inside the distance for our ladder play. Now, for the third rung of our ladder, and we're going to try and hit this one, boys, we're going to pick a specific round, right? And for me, I don't think it's getting into round 5. And I don't think it's getting finished in round 1, right? So it's really process of elimination, round 2, 3, or 4. Now, where do I think we're going to land up? Boys, I'm going to go smack bang in the middle. I was debating between 2 and 3. I don't think it's going 4. I'm going to say round 3. I'm going to say Max Holloway wins this fight in round 3. And the current odds of that are plus 850 odds. So it's a pretty big one. We have hit bigger odds than that before, but if we hit this one, it would definitely be a memorable one. So that's our section, Ladder the Hammer, boys. And like I said, I make multiple bets per week. If you want those official bets, you know where to go. The link is in the bio. You can literally copy and paste every single thing I play, not just a fun YouTube video bet on Max Holloway, right? You can actually copy and paste the bets I play. I do have a bet on Max Holloway this weekend, but I actually put him into a parlay with another fighter on the card. I believe that's the best way to play Max Holloway's money line this weekend. Not play it straight, but play it in a parlay. I have played that, sent out to my VIP group. So hopefully we cash that one. Hopefully Max gets it done for the lads. So that's it, boys. That is this week's Lucrative Hammer of the Week. See you next week for the next one. And hopefully we would have cashed this one like we did last week. Peace.